Vitamin D, and I'm sure most of you are doing it, in respect to the COVID that's happening. And I wanted to share this information with you. I was trying to do a different topic, but when I read this today, or when I looked at this study today, basically, I wanted to make sure everybody's listening and everybody's has this information. This is the first trial, the controlled trial, randomized controlled trial that's done on vitamin D and associated with COVID-19. So, of course, big deal, definitely, and something that we all need to be aware of. And I'm sure a lot of you are taking vitamin D3, but just understanding the study and understanding the dosages would also help. If you have a loved one, or if you have someone who's fighting this or preventing, this is I think one of the biggest things that they have come across in the nutrition side of things with trials. So a randomized control trial was done in Spain in a university, and where they took 76 patients with COVID, basically, and they split them into two groups, one with the vitamin D, one getting not the vitamin D. So about 50 of them with vitamin D, and the rest 26 which had not received the vitamin D. The dosage varied between 30,000 to about 80,000 per day for the first week, and then hence going less or reducing as after if they started seeing better results and recovering. So the control group that was not taking the vitamin D, 50% of them ended up in the ICU. And the group that was taking vitamin D, only 2% ended up in the ICU. In the group that was controlled, there were only 2 deaths, and in the vitamin D group, there were really no deaths at all. So, basically this kind of gave them a good understanding that, vitamin D could virtually eliminate the risk of ICU admission and may completely, eliminate the risk of death with COVID or from COVID-19. And that's a big finding. I think that's a huge step towards understanding this disease and this virus, and definitely having something that we can use against it in the nature, I guess, in vitamin D3, where a lot of you are taking vitamin D3, and I would say, we can look at the dosages, because there are certain therapeutic dosages that you need to be doing. Now, of course, this study doesn't verify everything. It's just the beginning of all these trials, and hopefully there'll be a lot more done. And as a matter of fact, this study is published on ScienceDirect.com, and I'll put a link there if you want to do more studying the details of that study. So as this came, I thought everybody should be knowing this, because the higher doses of vitamin D, when they were given like 30,000, 40,000 a day, basically they eliminated their chance of ending up in the ICU, or increasing or preventing the disease or the virus from damaging their lungs or damaging anything else where they would end up in the ICU. And who were in the ICU, basically they prevented death, and they recovered, most of them in that group. Now, they're a very small group at this point. They are going to do larger studies, so we're not going to jump the gun, but I think you can go ahead and take that vitamin D3 that you're getting in your grocery store. I would suggest starting with at least 5,000 or 2,000 to 5,000 IUs. And well, first I would get tested and see where your numbers are, where your nanograms per milliliter is. Generally they want it between 30 to 60. Having it higher, not necessarily that's going to really protect you, but definitely having between that range. So if you're very low, then I would start with a much higher dose, maybe between 5 to 10,000 for a few days. A lot of the doctors prescribe 10,000 IUs per week. I think that's very important. And then you can reduce it down. Now, depending on your ethnicity, depending on your color, depending on your physical, being, and if you have other issues, you can bump that vitamin D a little bit higher. So starting with a good 5,000, 2,000 to 5,000 IUs per day, taking with meals. I did a big video on that. You can look at my YouTube channel where I did a lot of detail in the vitamin D. And this is, a game changer. Adequate vitamin D levels should be a strong part of your health regimen, and I think everybody should be taking. So D3, you can get in soft gels, you can get in capsules, and nowadays they have the vegan forms. We have it all on our website. I'll put a post on there. You can buy it anywhere. Doing those with meals, very important. So somebody who is fighting COVID-19, teenager, kids, adults, definitely increasing that IUs, maybe 10,000, 20,000, or 30,000 per day, and then decreasing it as you go. I have seen studies that are done up to 100,000 IUs for a few days regarding this. So I'm going to post that. I just wanted to get this out there quickly as possible so everybody's aware, everywhere you are in the world. And please share this as much as you can, because I think this is very vital information for everyone. Thank you. Have a safe weekend. This is Cosmic Mike. Happy Friday.